Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me okay. If you're in the chat, just say hello, Ant. Then I know you can hear me all okay. And welcome to this evening. It's exciting time to get this done. That's it. Thank you. There, Neil, saying hello there as well. So I'm glad that some of you can hear me okay. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start getting cracking on. We've just got a few more people just coming in still. Let's have a look. So let Karen in as well. Just bear with me a couple of minutes. We've just got a couple of other people coming in. Wonderful stuff. Crikey, we've got international today as well. And we've got some people from the other side of the pond, as well as the UK, obviously. Oh, we've even got somebody in Yorkshire. Hello, Yorkshire. Let's have a look. Excellent. Okay. Lovely stuff. Right. So let's get started. Lovely bunch of people today. And why is this free? Why do we give away free stuff? And it's lucky that we can really. Let's have a look. Sorry, my apologies. Let's have a look. So how is it that we managed to give away free stuff today? Well, we're quite lucky that we've got four main sponsors today. We've got myself, and I'm putting my time into this. But there's also, I run a CIC called MindSparks, and MindSparks is a government-funded business to help people understand mindset issues, challenges, and why we think the way we think, specifically business owners and people in business as well. Then we've also got BrainSparks, which is my commercial company behind this, which is where I offer ongoing courses and training to other people as well. And we've also got the National Lottery to thank. Thank you, National Lottery. The National Lottery funded, oh, hang on a minute, it's just that somebody else in, just coming on in. Welcome if you just joined us. We're just doing a quick roundup here as well of our sponsors. The National Lottery have also awarded funding for this today as well. But while we do all of this, I also just want to mention that we proudly support the Children's Air Ambulance. It's a charity close to heart, looking after the little ones of this world, and whenever they require that urgent transfer from one hospital to another. So I just want to just get, here we go. Okay, so let's crack on. Why is it we get stuck sometimes? Why is it that sometimes in business we just get stuck, don't we? We don't necessarily know what to do. We know we should do something, but we just get stuck. We're becoming a bit of a quarry. And the challenge is that most people, I mean, this is most people, in fact, most people have no awareness of what their unconscious mind is thinking or the decisions that it makes 95% of the time. We just tend to live our life on autopilot, just doing the things we've always done and always getting what we've always got. And that's not really a criticism or fault of people. That's just the way we're made. That's what we do. We kind of always do what we're used to doing, and that's the way we carry on with our life. And we end up living our life like on autopilot, like a robot, and that robotic lifestyle is always based upon our learned behaviors, our values, and our skills and experiences. And we're programmed to react, aren't we? Whether it's a shock or a surprise, or whether it's happiness or sadness, or fear or fun, whatever it is, we tend to react or act in a certain way, even whether we just get angry at stuff, or whether we accept stuff, or whether we love stuff. We always go into that fight or flight or freeze mode, don't we? That just tends to happen, that's what we are as human beings. But then when we add emotions to this, that really changes how we feel deep inside. That changes the deep feelings inside of us, and it starts to create an imagination, doesn't it? Because when we start to create imagination, we quite often create things which don't necessarily exist at the moment. And what I'm talking about here is that we end up thinking forwards that something might happen, but sometimes it doesn't. But that thinking of it might happen create those feelings deep inside, and those feelings are what we call emotions. But I've got a question for you, actually. Who controls your emotion? I mean, it's nobody else, is it? It's only you. It's only your mind. So who controls our imagination, which then controls our emotion? And it's imagination which starts us in. Oh, hang on, we just got somebody else. I'll just let Michelle in. That's it, Michelle, you're in as well now. Welcome. Let's just wait for you to jump in. Few people's caught in the traffic, I guess. Let's just let her in. Okay. So why is it we feel like we feel? And actually, it's all about our emotions. It's our emotions that make us feel the way we feel. And what is it controls emotions? Well, it's reacting and imaginations based upon our learned experiences. But let's just move on a little bit more about that. And how does that affect us in our business life? How does that affect us when we're at work, whether we're working for an employer or whether we are the employer? We need to take on board that actually it's probably one of the loneliest jobs on this planet. You know, we can't share our worries with the team because the chances are if we're worried about something and we share it with our team, the team may well go somewhere else to our nearest competitor or even set up in competition ourselves if they see us as being a little bit at risk. And it's also exactly the same. Oh, hang on a moment, we've got somebody else just admit Maisie to coming in. But we got a great team of people joining us tonight. Hello, Maisie, welcome. I was just saying that when emotions are affected by imagination, it affects us in business. And as I was mentioning, it's probably one of the loneliest jobs on the planet. And by being a really lonely job on the planet, what it means we can't always share our feelings and concerns with the team, but also with our other halves at home. I mean, I'm sure this rings a bell. I just want to say to you as well that you may well want to be putting things in chat. That's great, but I'm on my own here today. So I won't be able to react to your chat comments as quick as focusing on what we're delivering here today as well. But I'm sure some of you have had the message where you go home and you're dreading sharing something with your other half because they'll probably turn around and say, well, go and get another job or go and get a job or go and get a proper job. I mean, that's the biggest upset to just about every entrepreneur. But the challenge is when we're in business, we tend to imagine outcomes that either never happen, probably won't happen, but they do create stress and anxiety and worry and fear, which doesn't exist yet. And that's the key word, yet, because it's all in the future, isn't it? Look, I'm going to explain here how the past affects our future, how our emotions work in making us do the things we do, and also why we feel the way we feel as human beings. What is it that creates that? But let's crack on with the story. If I can just ask Maisie, can you turn your mic off, please? Can you mute us so I can hear your telly in the background or something? Maybe it's EastEnders or Coronation Street. I don't know. Thank you, Maisie. Okay, so let's crack on with the story. Once upon a time, there was a hero that struggled to get what they wanted. And we know this story, don't we? And they struggled to get what they wanted and they found a solution, a friend that showed them a way, and they lived happily ever after. We know that story because either we've had it read to us when we were little or we've read it to our little ones. But there we have it. That story is all about the past. Once upon a time, the present has a problem. The future lived happily ever after. And when we break this down to us in our lives, actually, what we all experience is just these three things, isn't it? The past, the present, and the future. And we all have a past, don't we? Yes, that's me. Look at those pants. I did have a bit more hair then. But we all have a future, don't we? And we all have a past. And that past, whatever it may be, has brought us to here today. So it doesn't matter what's happened in the past with regards to did we make wrong decisions? Did things go wrong? Did they not work out our way? The point of the matter is every one of those decisions, those micro decisions and options and opportunities and those sliding door moments has brought you right here, right now. I mean, some of you have decided to come here because you want to listen to what we're saying. And other people, something else has happened and they haven't quite made that decision yet. But the reality is whatever happens in the past is what's brought you here right now. And I'm going to show you here today that today, it doesn't matter what age we are, today is never too late to create the tomorrows that you truly want for yourself. So let's talk about motivation. There's two sorts of motivation. There's fear-based motivation, and then we have attraction-based motivation. So let's talk about motivation by fear, first of all. This is where people do stuff because they don't want to be somewhere else, right? So this is someone that says like, I do this because I don't want to be broke, or I don't want to be controlled, or I don't want to be alone or unliked or vulnerable. But the point of the matter is I'm doing this because I don't want to be somewhere else. Does that make sense? And then the other sort is attraction by motivation by attraction. And what we're saying here is, I'm doing this because I want to be. Like, I'm doing this because I want to be financially stable. Do we see the difference there? That actually, similar thing. I do this because I don't want to be broke, or I do this because I want to be financially stable. It's two things. Oh, hang on a minute. We just got somebody else kicking in there. Oh, let's just let Heather in as well. Hello, Heather. You're in as well now. That's it. If you can just make sure you're mute for me, please. Lovely. Thank you. And when we talk about the two sorts of motivation, the motivation by attraction takes you to a place because you want to be there, as opposed to it takes me to a place because I don't want to be somewhere else. It's really important that we understand this, because one of them sets us up for a sense of achievement and one of them sets us up for a sense of failure. And I'm going to explain which one that is in just a moment. Okay, let's move on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is like dating, isn't it? Because when we chase, when we want something because we haven't got it, we create vulnerabilities in our mind, don't we? I'm not good enough. That's why I'm not getting what I want. Am I good enough? Will they like me? And it's the same whether it's in life or in business. When we chase business and we're not getting what we want, we start to feel vulnerable. Am I doing the right thing? Am I getting good enough? And all this kind of stuff. Whereas when we're happy, just like dating, when we're happy and sorted, oh my God, 3 buses come along at once, don't they? It's like, well, where do they come from? And that's because the vibrations that we're giving out, the energy we're giving out, is that we're in a good place. We're not needy. And that's the thing, isn't it? When we're chasing, we're needy. Nobody likes needy people. And when we're content and happy and fulfilled, because we're then motivated by attraction, that's what we then put out. And those 3 buses come along all at once. I've got a question to ask you, and please drop this in the chat at the moment. It's sometimes, which one of these do you feel like at the moment? Do you feel like a victim? Life and events are controlling you. It always rains on your barbecue. Something happens. It's not going quite right. Or do you get to a point sometimes actually where, no, this is going really good. I'm a creator. I like this. I'm able to control my life in business and beyond. And that's what I put down, the difference there between creator and victim. So have a think about that. What are you at the moment? Victim or creator? Feel free to pop it in the chat, just the words victim or creator. But let me explain. It's awareness today of how you think that enables you to create the tomorrows you truly want by thinking the right type of thoughts. Creator coming in, creator, thank you very much. That's lovely. Oh, I don't like the word victim, but I completely get that. Because the word victim's a horrible word, isn't it? The word victim means like, I'm not in a good place. But we have to be really careful and actually remove the emotion of the word and just think about it. Does life control me, or do I control life? It's difficult, isn't it? I get it. It's bloody difficult. But the awareness of how you think today is what enables you to create the tomorrows by thinking the right type of thoughts. And it's great to see so many positive people coming up there. Hang on a minute, I just got a couple of others coming in there. So let's let you in there. Wonderful. Welcome to Susanna. Welcome, Sarbit, as well. If you can just make sure you're muted for me so we don't hear your telly or Coronation Street in the background. That's wonderful. So awareness of how you're thinking today is actually really what enables us to create our tomorrows by ensuring that we're thinking the right kind of thing. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more now. So this is go on to the next slide. This is like Matt. Matt was one of my clients, and Matt went from being really flat. I mean, Matt was in a position where he had everything going for him. He had a great business, but he was flat. He was unfocused because he was always living in the past. And he had these negative events hanging around him, but they seemed to just keep reproducing over and over again. He was just stuck in this negative cycle, stuff not working out. So we worked with Matt and we worked together. And this is what Matt had to say about the outcome. I'm sitting here. So what actually happened was Matt was on this edge of a financial deal and it all went a little bit Pete-tong. It went a little bit wrong. So, but then he then sat here, and after working through this, he said, I'm sitting here now as cool as a cucumber. I know there's nothing I can do about it now. And what he's done is done. Hallelujah. We have to just draw a line sometimes, don't we? And worrying about the future is pointless because he can't affect it in the here and now. And in fact, right now was one of the calmest moments he'd had in years. How can such a potentially huge, life-changing financial mistake? He actually used the F word in there instead of mistake, but I've edited that. Leave him so calm. And this is nice. I mean, this is his words. He just says that he believes I'm a miracle worker and wants to say thank you, not just for the time working with him, but for the many years. And this is just an absolute true story of Matt. Lovely, lovely fella. And that's the point, isn't it? We're all chasing the future 1 second at a time. We all sit around those campfires having those moments thinking, wouldn't it be good if? Wouldn't it be good if this was to happen? And as you look around you, wherever you're sitting right now, right here, right now, look around you and look at everything which is not made by nature. Look at anything made by man-made. It could be as simple as a pen or a glass or absolutely anything. And I can guarantee whatever it is you're looking at right here, right now, that it was all started by one person with one thought in their mind. Sure, they might have got a team to create it and make it happen, but there was one person that thought, oh, wouldn't it be good to create a glass to put a water in? Wouldn't it be good to put a man on the moon? Wouldn't it be good to create the London Underground? That was all started with one thought in one person's mind at one time. Wouldn't it be good if? So let's break that down, shall we? Past, present, and future. The past, we've done it, haven't we? It's all gone. Unless we're Marty McFly and we can jump on that skateboard, I don't know anybody that can change the past. And the present, well, that's all us here, right now, isn't it? We're right here today. Um, Hang on. Alyssa, could you unmute, please? I can hear some noise in the background. You just come in there. I'll just send you a little message to unmute as well. There we go. Otherwise, we're going to have the telly coming through the system for everybody else. And the past, the present, and the future is actually, as I mentioned earlier on, the only real reality that we as human beings feel. And when we then break that down further, the past can be seconds, minutes, days, weeks. If it's gone, it's gone. When we started this, 17 minutes ago, that's now the past, isn't it? That's gone. And we can't do anything to change that past because the present only exists in the here and now. But what's your future? Where does your future come from? Who's creating your future for you? But before we go on to that, why should you listen to me? I'm some bloke wearing a pink shirt here on the podcast tonight, going through and talking about why and how we feel the way we feel, what we can do. And I just want to give you a little bit of a backstory so you know that I'm a genuine fella. I'm in a position of authority of explaining why I do what I do because of what I've studied. But I want to take you back to a place in 2015. And it was in 2015 when I had this material life of I had more money than I ever thought I needed. I had all material stuff, the cars, the posh house, loving partner, great kids and all that. And these are some of the visuals that go with that. I had a business called Cho Young Tea. This was a really successful business. We operated globally. We were the number one product in Holland and Barrett. We had a fantastic farmhouse. You can see it in the middle there, Oliver's Farm. I used to buy and sell boats. I had cars. And I'm not saying this to show off. This is not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is that I had all this stuff which we think we want as human beings, but why wasn't I happy? And I learned what was going on. At the time, I didn't know this, right? But I do now. I was living in this thing called deferred happiness. And probably some of you will recognize this, or you might hear it in other people. And the phrase goes like this: I'll be happy when. Yeah, I'll be happy when I get a new job. I'll be happy when I go on holiday. I'll be happy when I get a new partner. I'll be happy when, and it's always about I'll be happy when, which is portraying the power in the future. It's all about I'll be happy when, right? And the challenge is when we live in I'll be happy when, we're changing the way our mind thoughts, we're changing the way that our brain processes achievement to be deferred for the future. And when that happens, we're destined for a dark place. And the reason why we're destined for a dark place is because we can only experience happiness in the here and now. We can't experience happiness for the future. We can only feel it right here, right now, right? And if we're always deferring our happiness for the future, we have no sense of achievement in the here and now. And when we don't have any sense of achievement now or happiness now, we become unhappy. And Unhappiness took me to a really dark place in 2015. I won't tell the story here. I'll save that for another time. But what I will say is that I was 30 seconds away from disappearing off this planet because I was so unhappy, even though I had all of this. What is all that about, eh? Something was wrong there, wasn't it? And it's because I wasn't appreciating what I had because I was no longer living in the here and now. Something had to change. I was, as I say, 30 seconds away from disappearing. And then I realized, hang on a minute, I need to create a change. And I'll save that story for another day. But that change took me on a mission. And that mission is, why do we as human beings feel the way we feel? Why was I so unhappy when I had all this stuff? Don't forget, I didn't know back then I was living in deferred happiness. I do now because that's what I've been doing, but I didn't then. I was completely jumbled up. I was thinking, I've got everything that all us human beings in the Western society think we want. I'm doing the best I can. I've got all of this success. I've got the money, got the business, got the cars, got the partner, got the house, got the 2.4 washing machines or wherever much it is nowadays. Why wasn't I happy? So I had to understand, why do we feel the way we feel? And also, what could I do to be the best version of myself that I wanted to be for me and my loved ones? And why do we do the things we do? So there's three things there. Why do we feel? Why do we do? And what can I do to be the best version of myself? So I went on a mission for 5 years, and it was 5 years of R&D and a PhD, and I found the answers. During this whole time of 5 years in research and development, I studied the big minds like Tesla and Einstein, Milton Erickson, Professor Bruce Lipton, those fellas. And this isn't for showing off. This was just me on a mission trying to understand what the flip is this thing we call life. Where does happiness come from? And I found the answer. I found the answers to why we feel. Don't worry, I don't do religion, so we're not going down that road. I found the answer. Why do we feel the way we feel? Why do we do the things we do? And how I could be the best version that I wanted to be for me and my loved ones and family. I'm going to share the answer with you right now. Ready? The answer is what you think you become. The challenge, you may remember at the very beginning, I said that most people are unaware of what their mind thinking or decisions it makes 95% of the time. That's the challenge. We don't know what we're thinking 95% of the time. And most of us are thinking negative stuff most of the time because that's what our mind does. It's constantly thinking, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. What about this? What about? It's always thinking risk all the time. Did you know we'd receive around 5,000 thoughts per day get processed through our mind? 80% of them the same as yesterday, and 92% of them are negative. It's no wonder we become miserable as we get older. But do you know what? As I mentioned at the very beginning, the past is the past, and it's what's made you here right now today. And all we can do right now is the best time to move forwards from now into the future, because we can't move to the future from the past because it's gone, hasn't it? Does that make sense? Okay, time for you to get busy with the chat box, please. So here we go. What do you see here in the chat box? Answers, nice and prompt. What do you see in this picture here, please? Let's have a look, see what some answers are coming in. I could cheat and tell you, but I'm not going to. We're going to wait, and I shall show you in a minute exactly what this is. So what do you see in this picture on your screen right now? Fancy young lady, young lady, young lady. Nice, young lady, young lady. Oh, I love this, young lady. Okay. What would you say if I said to you, possibly? Let me show you. Ready? Old woman. So yeah, some of you got this already. So yeah, look at this. You can see the nose and lips here. If you saw a young woman, first of all, take a look at this first. Here's an old lady with the great big nose and the red lips going round what we thought was a young person's neck. And then there's the young woman, right? We saw that one as well, didn't we, with the chin and the necklace. And even some people see a mountain, of all things. But the reality is that what we see as reality is just as we perceive it based upon our biases. It's the same picture, right? The picture's not changing, but it's our bias based upon our perceptions. And that's the same in business too, isn't it? Because how many times have we heard bias come into place? Oh no, that's against our Data Protection Act. That's against, oh, that's not our policy. We don't do it that way. We fall into, we've always done it that way, so that's the way we always will do it. And that's the challenge with bias, is when we get into a certain way of thinking, that's the way we always do things. And you know what we say? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always win what you've always won, which is great, because if you're getting everything you want in life, fantastic, don't change a thing. But if you want to change the outcome, we've got to change something, haven't we? Nothing's going to change unless we change the input. That's just a sign of madness. So look, let's add some science to this. I know you're probably saying that's all a good story, Ant, but let me add some scientific proof. Let's join the dots up of how the brain works. So I'm going to bring some emotions into play. 4 key emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, and scare. Fear, right? Starting at the bottom up, we know what fear is. We've got the fear of the here and now, but also we have the fear of the future, right? We know, what will they think of me? Angry is like when someone gets in your way. It stops you getting what you want, doesn't it? It's someone that carves you up at the roundabout. Someone's in my way. They're not letting me get what I want. Anger. Sadness is loss, isn't it? That's always to do with past, loss of opportunity, moves into the future, but most of the time it's a feeling of loss. Well, I've got one question. Does anybody know anybody that's ever been to the doctors because you're too happy? Doesn't happen, does it? We go to the doctors when we're sad. We go to the doctors when we're angry. We go to the doctors when we're anxious. Anxious, anxiety, depression, all those mental health illnesses. I don't know anybody that goes to the doctors because you're too happy. And that's the point. That's where we should be as human beings. That's our default mechanism. That's our default homeostasis. That's where we need to be, isn't it? Just happy. And if we look at how we are in the here and now, so that same image, if we look down that middle and imagine this is how you are in the here and now, right here, right now, right? So if we're happy right here, right now, and we look to the future, that creates excitement, future, enthusiasm. That's great, isn't it? And if we're happy now and look back on the past, that brings us back pleasant memories, good things to remember. But if we're sad now, if we're sad right now looking to the future, it's kind of hopeless, isn't it? It's like, what's the point? And likewise, if we're sad now and look back at the past, that heartfelt loss, that's depression. That's like, I don't have this anymore. But then we go into anger, if we're angry in that here and now and we're looking to the future, when we go into the future with anger, that's irrational aggression. Just get out of my way, that kind of stuff. And when we've got anger looking at the past, that breeds resentment and blame. We're in a society of blame at the moment, aren't we? Why is that? It's because we're getting angry. And if we look at scared, fear, well, when we look at the past, we're in a fearful state. We become numb and negative. And when we're in anxiety of the future, we're worried about the future, that fear of the future. When we're fearful now and we look forwards, it's like, well, what's going to go wrong if? That's anxiety. Those two there, I mean, in that one picture, we've got anxiety bottom right and depression nearly at the top on the left. They're the two core mental health mindset challenges that we're facing in the moment. And it's all based on where we are in the here and now. So, don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but what's your tomorrow going to be like? Well, sad to say, unless you do something different, it's probably going to be the same as all your yesterdays. Same drama, same problems, same outcomes, same problems with friends, same problems with food, same problems with money. It's always going to be the same because that's based upon our learnt values and beliefs of what's happened to us in the past. And that's created our learnt behavior for today. So tomorrow will always be a creation from what you're thinking now, because what we create tomorrow is a decision we make now, right? And what the decisions we make now is based upon what we learned in the past. So when we live like on autopilot, in other words, we're just living life on autopilot, like I mentioned at the very beginning. We're unaware of what our unconscious mind is thinking, that 95%, and the decisions that it makes, 95%. That's just happening. Right? We do stuff that we don't think about. I'm sure that some of you have had that moment where, no, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to eat those crisps. I'm not going to have that drink. And then 5 minutes later, there we are, tucking in. What happened? What happened was that we went from our conscious mind thinking, I'm not going to have this, onto autopilot. And our autopilot just carried out and always done what we've always done. If we want to change that, if we want to change those values, beliefs, and thoughts that sit in our unconscious mind, Something has to happen, like a traumatic event, like a death or an injury or an accident or financial chaos, or something has to happen to create that unconsciousness to go, hang on a minute, I can't always do what I've always done. I need to change, right? So there has to be a traumatic event to change the way you think. Otherwise, you'll always do the same thing. Or you know how to change what and how you think. Just like Victoria. Vic went from being totally overwhelmed. She was tired, brain fog, she just was overwhelmed with running her own business. And this is what she had to say about it, that she found it so difficult to talk to anyone about her worries within the business. She had fears running away with self in her mind and worrying about anxiety about the future. She struggled with motivation. What's the point? No, we spoke about that, didn't we? In the motivations of the here and now. And as she said, this wasn't something that a coach could help her with. She didn't need a coach. She needed to change the way she thought. This isn't about a coach going, come on, we can do this, we can do this. This is no, let's go back to the cause. Let's change the way the mind is thinking, because then the symptoms won't present themselves and we won't need a coach to sort the symptoms out. Let's do some rewiring. And that's what she felt here, that we stabilized her brain without the need for drugs. And she said if she had to put it down to one most beneficial thing, she'd struggle, because we did attack things in so many different ways of explaining how the brain works, how the mind works with education. And then she found she was able to take ownership of self, ownership of accountability to be who she wanted to be and rewire her brain. And that's what I do. That I show people that you can change your thoughts through my masterclass workshops and talks. I can show you how you have an intervention into your unconscious mind, so you stop thinking the way you've always thought, so you stop getting what you've always got. And it's called Switched On Thinking, and there's 43 change creation modules. It's all CPD accredited as well. And we have some fun when we do this. I do this either in a workshop environment, like one of these workshops, or I also do it online through webinars as well. And it's all about having fun, isn't it? And the benefits of Switched On Thinking is within the workforce environment is that we've got proven statistics now that it creates a happier and more engaged workplace. Who wouldn't want that? Going to work to be in a happy place because you want to be there. And when you've got that mindset of wanting to, which is the attraction, we went back about motivation, fear, or attraction. When it's attraction-based motivation, you're doing this because you want to. You're going to work because you want to. It then automatically brings in increased ownership, increased accountability, motivation and mojo is rejuvenated. I've seen people get very excited about going back into work because they want to, not because they have to. And of course, less sick days. I mean, I worked out the other day, one company that has, say, 200 employees, if we could save one sickness day per employee per year, that's around £45,000 a year. That's big money, isn't it? That's a huge change. So how can we as individuals, you here listen to me, how can we change our thinking? How can we switch on our thinking? And it all starts with a conscious effort of self. We have to make that conscious decision, first of all. From the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain, which is the conscious awareness, has to go, okay, I want to do something. We've got another name for this, by the way. It's called willpower. I will, which is great to initiate, but willpower runs out of puff pretty soon, as we all know. So we have to start with that conscious intent, first of all. We have to have intent. We need to know our purpose. We've got to put some good old-fashioned passion into it as well, because once we've got intent, purpose, and passion, that then creates progress. And when I spoke earlier on about motivation by attraction, when we do something because we want to do it, when we achieve it, when we get that, we then have a sense of achievement, don't we? And that's so powerful, because when we have a sense of achievement in the present, in other words, we're no longer living in I'll be happy when, we're living in now. When we have a sense of achievement now, our sense of worth increases, and then we then benefit from an achievement of self-worth, and we grow in confidence. We become that lion. We become invincible, because when we then do this within our team, we also then find a sense of belonging to our tribe. And as a human being, what I found with all my studies is that human beings are a tribal species. We long to belong, in a tribe. That's what it's all. And when we're in our own tribes, we have safety in numbers. We like the way other people think because they think the same as us. We got the same values, the same beliefs. We feel safe. We belong, and that's why we have so much passion amongst sports teams. The tribe of Arsenal has different values to the tribe of Liverpool, and that's what we're all about here. We have different tribes. And when we're on that tribe and we're working together on a course, it takes us on a journey of discovery because what you think, you become. Look, we're going to start wrapping up soon. I say soon, we've got a little while yet, but I've got a question to ask you. How old are you? I mean, really, how old are you? Are you sure? Now, this might sound a really silly question, right? We all know how old we are, don't we? Because we all got a birth certificate. We all know we were born in 19 blah de blah. But what if things were different? I want you just to imagine this, right? Just imagine this child sitting on the beach here, playing with sand. And what I want you to imagine is that as they're picking up that pile of sand and just letting it go, each one of those grains of sand that are passing down through are a moment in time. It's a part of your experience of life. It's an emotion, it's a desire, it's an achievement, it's a want. It's something that's happened throughout time. And this representation here shows us that when that sand or grain has passed through your hand of the here and now, it becomes the past, doesn't it? That pile of sand at the bottom, that's gone. And I don't know anybody that can change the past, as I said earlier on, apart from Marty McFly. But where are we? We're in the present, aren't we? And if we look at this like an hourglass, we're sitting in the present right here. That's the hand in the middle. We know about the pile of sand underneath us, don't we? We know that's our age, that's gone. So let's say some of us are going to say, yeah, well, I'm 46, I'm 37, I'm 22, I'm 53, whatever it may be, that's time gone. How would life be different if we didn't do this? How would life be different if I was to say, my name's Dr. Ant, and I've got 10 months, no, I've got 10 years and 2 months remaining. Crikey. What if it was like, my name's Felicity, and I've got 3 months remaining? Wow. Wouldn't that change how you think? Wouldn't that change about some of the decisions that you make? If you knew how much time you had left, would that make you think different, do different, be different, achieve different, feel different? Of course it would. But the reality is, when we look at this picture here, the present and the past is at the bottom, how much time have you got left above? How much time is in your sand timer? That's quite cold, isn't it? In fact, I want to close my, wow. And that's the reality. None of us know, do we? None of us know if we're going to be here tomorrow. We just don't know. And that's the point. We have to make a decision to do something now. Because if we don't, tomorrow is always going to be the same. And that's what happens. And I'm going to show you now that today is never too late, ever, to create the tomorrows that you truly want. Because the only thing that's stopping you moving forwards to do whatever it is in your life that you want to do, the only thing that's stopping you moving forwards, ready for this, is in the past. How is it so? It's in the past because whatever's happened in the past is what's creating your feelings in the here and now, which makes you decide what you're going to do. So you just got to let it go. Now, that's really easy, isn't it? Saying, oh, just let the past go. But the reality is, to move forwards, we have to let the past go. Because what you think, you become. So look, like Leanne. Leanne went from feeling really frustrated, lost, angry, overwhelmed, to feeling control of her life. Let's see what she had to say. Leanne said she had no idea that being self-aware of what, being aware of how she felt herself was the key to how she felt. And I helped her evaluate her path, and we worked together and we evaluated her goals. And I showed her and helped her become aware of focusing on what she really wanted from life rather than just coasting on autopilot. If ever you get to meet Leanne, she will tell you the time when I said to her, Leanne, you're living like a, whatever the word was. I thought she was going to bite my head off. But the reality was that she was living in a victim mindset. She was living in a mindset where everyone else was controlling her life instead of her controlling her own life. But now she knows that by actually using the tools of the here and now, and Leanne works with the probation service and works with ex-offenders, and her results are remarkable. She's got other experienced probation officers coming to her saying, Leanne, how are you doing this? And actually, what it is about bringing people into the here and now and focusing, letting the past go. Where are you right now today? Let's crack on and move forwards. So, did you know this? I mean, this is quite obvious in some ways. It's a bit like tribes, isn't it? Back to the Arsenal Liverpool thing. We become an average of the people we spend most of our time with. So, if we was to join a tribe of 9 other successful millionaires, within a short time, we would be the 10th. Because we take on their thoughts, their values, their beliefs, their decision making, their risks, we would just become another clone of them. And it's exactly the same by when we're surrounding ourselves by negative people. If we're in that group of negative people that are doubters, naysayers, no, you're not, you're no good enough, all that kind of stuff, we become exactly the same. We fall into that bucket of crabs. We fall into that same environment as what we become. And it's up to us to make a decision. Do I want to be like that? Or do I want to be how I want to be? The choice is yours. So look, this is what we've spoken about. We've covered how the past affects your future, right? I don't think anybody can doubt that unless you're Marty McFly. We've also covered how our emotions work in making us do the things we do and why we feel the way that we feel. But the challenge is when we're in business or in work, crikey, that really has an impact, doesn't it? Because when we're trying to navigate uncharted territory, when there's stuff we just don't know about, and we try to scale our business and grow our business, if we're always looking back on the past for our evidence and solutions to move forwards, we're always going to make the same decisions as we did in the past. But today's world has changed, doesn't it? So we've got to think differently. We've got to create different solutions for different problems that we've never had to solve before because we haven't got those solutions. And when we're grappling with self-doubt and uncertainty, because we don't know those, when we're also worried about wasting more time and money, but then we become overwhelmed because we're thinking, where do we go? How do we go? What shall I do? We just become overwhelmed. And we know that phrase, don't we? Paralysis from analysis, right? And we're unsure the best path forwards. So you have a choice. You can do nothing, which is cool because you know that your tomorrows are going to be the same as all your yesterdays. That's predictable, isn't it? That's fine, unless you don't want them to be. Because if you don't change, you're going to have the same problems, same doubts, same levels of energy, same focus, same. That's cool. Or you can do something different and create the tomorrows you truly want, And by creating the tomorrows you truly want, you can do this. And then you start to feel that you're in a sense of having freedom, calm, control, peace of mind, relax, a sense of achievement, and happy. And just imagine how your life would be with freedom and calmness and control and total peace of mind and feeling relaxed and happy, that good old fashioned happy with that sense of achievement. It would feel good, wouldn't it? And this is what's achievable from your mind. We said at the very beginning, didn't we? Who's in control of your imagination? Well, it's nobody else, is it? It's only you. And it's only you that creates your own thoughts in your imagination from what you think. And what's achievable from your mind is your success. You create a sense of ease of self, and you end up having that flow of inspiration and success. And you then have that sense of fulfillment. But it's all about not living in the past and about creating what you really, really want in your world in the future of your business. And this is one of the things that I've launched and been running quite recently, and it's proven very successful. I run this course, and it's called "Learn to How to Overcome the Fear of Failure and Find Success." And it's all about understanding the power of the unconscious mind. We know what we think consciously, right? Because it's in the here and now. We got that right, and we think in the past and we think in the future. But what's untapped? What about the 95% of resources that we don't know that's going on that might be taking us in the wrong direction? Let's change some of those, shall we? And that's what I do, is I show people how to do that. And by doing that, people then learn to understand what the fear of failure is, how to create a setback or set up future failures. Because when we have a fear of failure, it can also set us up for failure because we've got the fear of failure because our mind is always delivering what we're thinking, right? And we also get to learn how unconscious thoughts and beliefs prevent us from achieving what we need to have. And through the mastery program, we explore about what the fear of success is. Do you know, oh, crikey, never even knew this existed many years ago. The fear of success. Odd one, eh? We'll go through that. We'll talk about gaining new insights that teach you how to resolve the fear and use it to your advantage. I run a program recently about imposter syndrome and how to use that to your advantage. And that's all a very similar thing. We also talk about how to make decision making easier, so it's less fearful, and make it intentional, make it conscious. And then we learn how to overcome the current challenges you're facing, but not just dealing with it, it's dealing with it with total confidence and clarity. This is what I'm offering. The Switch on Thinking course. We run this over 3 online sessions. Each session is 75 minutes, and we do it like this, but it's an interactive session. And I run it on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Mondays at 6 p.m. 75 minutes. Normally, I charge 335 for this, but I'll put together a special discount because this is one of our launch programs. So it's just 199. The first one is on the 28th of May. And then the second day, so the 28th of May is the Tuesday, and then 31st of May is the Friday, and then 3rd of June is the Monday. So we run on Tuesday, Friday, skip a weekend, so you got your time for your mind to think about it, and then Monday we pick up and summarize all the stuff we've done on the previous Tuesday and Friday. So that's the next intake. I'm going to be launching some other dates, but at the moment I'm offering the 199 for people that are in a position to start on the 28th of May and then run the 3 sessions. But I get it. We need to have some guarantees, don't we? Right. So what I'm doing is offering my personal guarantee that I will work with you on this to take you to that point where you have got that significant improvement in your awareness of how your mind works and how you think, not just of yourself, but also of others, others in your team, and also how to control your thoughts and create a better feeling. And if we don't get that after these 3 days, I will guarantee that's okay. We'll stick with it. And I'll bring you on the next one and the next one until we guarantee to crack it. All right. So there is a guaranteed outcome to this. But you haven't got to just take my word for this. This is, you remember Matt and Vicky and Leanne. The writing's here, what it says, you know. Matt's life is considerably different now because he's now in a position of much more calm, collected, and Vicky's no longer overwhelmed, and Leanne is no longer lost or angry. You know, she's in a fantastic place now, and is really just about to set the world alight. So there we have it, peeps. If you want to sign on to this course, you can see the QR code there, or there's a link at the bottom. What I'll also do while I'm just talking to you, I'm going to put over a link into the chat box as well, just in case your QR code doesn't work, because I know sometimes that don't work. So here we go. I'll just put that over there. So in the chat box, you'll see a link to the website code as well. So that's saving 40%. As I say, normally it's 335, but we put them down there as a 40% saving. I'll leave this on the screen here for a while so that you can see this. So there's a QR code there as well if you want to take that offer up. As I say, that offers for the payment today to save the 40%, and we're looking for a really strong intake for the sessions on the 28th of May, 31st, and the 3rd of June. I'm going to be hanging around a while now for anybody in the chat. If there's any questions you want to ask, feel free to chat away, and we can pick up on this. For everyone that's attended today, you're also going to get a follow-up email with a recording of today as well, so you can pick up on the stuff we've been talking about. You'll be able to pick up on the QR code as well, so that it's going to be valid for 5 days. So if you're not quite sure about making a decision right now today, that's okay, that's cool. We need to sleep on things. We've got 5 days that we've got this price open. Thank you, everybody. That's us for today. In your chat here, please feel free, if you've got your LinkedIn profile, paste in your LinkedIn details here as well, just to make sure we're also personally connected. And I will connect with you all on LinkedIn so we can just keep in contact. If not, that's it. Neil, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated your comments there. Thank you, Leanne. Really appreciate that as well. It's all about just creating change, really, isn't it? And about doing something a bit different. Those of you who might know me a little bit more was that when I had that life, that material life, I was a very different person then. And I was then much more about take, take, take. Well, that's not life now. Life now is about giving and doing the best we can and being the best that we can. And that's what it's all about now. Thank you, everybody. We just got a few more things coming in. Thank you, Michelle. Really appreciate that comment there as well. Just give me a few moments to decide what you want to do. So I'm just going to hang on here for a moment in the chat. Thank you, Neil. And again, feel free. I've left the links in the chat open to everybody, so you should all be able to see each other's links. So if you want to do some networking, make the most of it. Grab each other's LinkedIns and say, "Oh, I was on with Dr. Ant, so were you. Let's have a natter," or something like that as well. Heather, you're most welcome. Melissa from the other side of the pond, fantastic. Good to hear from you. Tomas, wonderful. Thank you, sir. We are connected already indeed. Yes, and I see you supporting. And Karen, thank you. Really appreciate your support there as well. Oh my goodness me, there's so many comments come in. Just I want to say thank you. Together we can do stuff together because together we're much stronger. I'm gonna crack on out now. The time now is 9 minutes to 6. So look, I've taken you an hour and just under an hour, haven't I? Actually, I've taken you 51 minutes. We can all go now if you want to. I'm going to sit here. We can say tatty bye, but I'm just going to sit here and wait in case there's anybody else that wants to have a chat about anything. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.